In this episode, Brian Roisentul, founder and CEO of BSR Digital, shares his personal journey from a background in computer science to becoming an advertising expert. He emphasizes the importance of going back to the basics in marketing and advises brands to focus on creating a strong product and validating its demand before investing in advertising. Brian discusses the key elements of an ideal marketing strategy, including setting clear goals, developing a plan, and balancing acquisition and retention strategies. He also highlights the significance of data analysis, the impact of cookieless world, and the role of AI in advertising. Join us for this insightful conversation, which will help you put advertising and marketing knowledge into practice. Welcome to the Ecom Pulse, your heartbeat to the world of e-commerce. Join us as we meet industry leaders, innovative entrepreneurs, and passionate professionals who are at the forefront of the e-commerce revolution. From groundbreaking technologies to marketing magic, Ecom Pulse is your insider's guide to all things e-commerce. So plug in, gear up, and get ready for a pulse-pounding journey into the heart of e-commerce. Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of the Ecom Pulse podcast. I'm Eitan Koter, your host. It is my pleasure today to welcome Brian Roisentul, founder and CEO of BSR Digital, and the host of the DTC Insider podcast. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thanks, Eden. It's a pleasure to be here.
Brian, welcome. You are an advertising expert and obviously hosting the DTC podcast. You've been dealing for many years, with brand and specifically in the advertising and the marketing, sector. I would love to learn more about you. If you can share your personal journey for the listeners to know you better and what you do in BSR Digital.
Yeah, I actually don't come from a marketing background. I have a degree in computer science, so I used to work as a developer for many years. I still keep the glasses, and I had so much fun. I was educated, very analytical, strategic, creating software. I actually started creating apps for SharePoint and many other big, let's say, pieces of tech for big companies like Shell and some other big companies in the US. And then I wanted to work for myself. I opened a software factory in which we developed, if you remember, Facebook apps. Facebook apps, for those who don't remember or don't know, the Facebook pages back then, I think they were called fan page. They were they used to have tabs. And each tab could be a different thing. It could be a promotion. It could be the stores or the locations or different things that brand offered. Brands used to do many giveaways to get more followers or fans to their Facebook page. They gave away their house probably in exchange of that back then. It was a huge deal. And so we developed those apps for many companies in my software factory. And then one day we came up with the idea of a tech startup linked to marketing as well, and that was my first connection with the marketing world. That was in 2011, and then we started seeing many of those clients we had in the tech startup that they had a lot of needs related to marketing, handling the. Back then, there wasn't Instagram. I believe it was only Facebook. So the Facebook social media management. So we wanted to be there, but not with that tech startup. And that's how we opened the first version of my agency in 2013 with another partner, because I was super busy working with my co-founder in the startup. And we started doing that, social media management. But the long story short, I wasn't comfortable giving results such as likes and shares and comments. I didn't feel like it was enough, because my clients, when we met to present the results, were like, hey, I love that we are growing the fan base, but I want business results. I want clients. When are we going to be there? Because back then, nobody knew what was going to happen with the fans. Everyone was collecting fans, and that
Okay.
was it. It was community building, and nowadays it's super valued
Mm-hmm.
as well. But nobody knew that it didn't have a direct correlation, measurable at least correlation with with getting clients. So basically, I said, hey, this is not enough for me. I want more. I want business. I want to help business generate business results directly. So we started doing lead gen campaigns, and then only probably 1 or 2 years later, ecom as well. It was a
Yeah.
totally different landscape than today's. The right column ads, not even the feed ads. It was a different thing, but anyway, that's how I got started in the paid ads world.
Interesting. So what was the trigger that, for that transition, from development, Facebook apps, going to become, kind of an agency, which is obviously evolving over the years?
Yeah, the startup, basically this tech startup. I was
Startups, yeah.
leading the technical department, and
Mm-hmm.
I saw like the marketing department having fun. We were like the technical department is like we work heavy. It's like it's a lot of work on the back end. As you might know, and nobody notices how hard it is to do some of the things, and
Sure.
I love that part, but I fell in love with generating business results for people as well, and that's when I fell in love with the marketing side, but the analytical side of the marketing industry, if that makes sense, right?
It makes a lot of sense. Of course, of course. So what are you doing these days at, BSR Digital? I mean, how do you see 2024? Well, what's the plan? What are you focusing on?
Yeah, we're focused on keep helping e-commerce brands, mainly doing 7 figures, to grow to the next level, whatever that means for each brand, through acquisition
Mm-hmm.
and retention strategies.
Yeah, yeah. So what will be an ideal process from your perspective that the brand should implement for, their growth strategy, for their marketing or advertising strategies? What will be an ideal, more of a longer term process?
Process for brands starting out or brands well established.
Brands that are thinking about, spending, right, in paid media and looking not just for the next campaign, but probably for kind of a longer term plan, like an year-long plan. What would be an ideal, strategy of planning their budgets across the year?
Okay, so basically, what we always advise people to do or brands to do is to close the laptop or close the ads platforms and think on paper the same way we do, or I used to do back in the day
Think.
when I was working in tech. On in tech, for people who are not from that space, we don't just go ahead and implement whatever comes to mind. There's a plan. There are
Mm-hmm.
diagrams, flows, use case scenarios. So in these cases, the same. There should be a plan in place. Without a plan, sure, you can implement whatever campaign comes to mind, but you can get lucky eventually with one or two, but without a plan, it's super hard to play the long game and
Yes.
succeed there. So the first thing we build for our clients is a plan. But the plan doesn't
Mm-hmm.
come from understanding their business, understanding their goals, understanding what they have handy to fulfill those goals or to achieve those goals. So basically, we try to, if they work with us, let's say, the first thing we do through the onboarding process is try to understand who they are, who they serve, the avatars or the ICP, the ideal customer profiles,
Mm-hmm.
how they stand out as a brand, why they are different, and many business related questions, not ad related questions. Once we understand the business, their goals, what they have handy to succeed, we build a plan, and the plan has basically let's say we iterate in a quarter by quarter. So we develop 90-day roadmaps. They are basically 90-day plans in which the first thing we look at is the goal for 90 days, and then we break that down into monthly goals and to do 4 or 5 high-level actions to achieve those monthly goals. Why am I saying this
Yeah.
whole thing that is not
Mm-hmm.
related? Like directly with your question, because that's actually the way we like to do things. And I didn't mention yet anything related to campaigns. I just mentioned,
Right.
hey, you want to reach this destination? Let's break it down into more achievable goals, monthly goals, and high level actions. And there we'll say, okay, to achieve this goal and these monthly goals, we need X budget, X
Yeah.
platforms, etc.
Yes, and this is exactly what I was trying to refer, right? This is the original planning, right, or thought process of where brands want to achieve and how they are defining their success. So let's talk about success parameters like KPIs, or what do you hear and what do you usually recommend, in terms of targets of success of such a plan or such campaigns, that you manage for them.
Yes. So in line with what I just saying, each client defines success in a different way. Some clients, or even people I talk to on the podcast or in discovery calls, they value different things. Of course, what we hear like everywhere is like the ROAS, but now it's even just it doesn't look good if you say ROAS only, because it's actually I don't think it's a vanity metric, but it's not enough. But high level goals, some people want to decrease the cost per customer acquisition.
Okay.
But what most brands are talking about nowadays, and should be the conversation always, but it is the current conversation because of what we've been through with COVID, etc., is profitability. They need to be profit. So they are doing everything in their power to be profit. That means decreasing costs, but they are forgetting, not all of them, but many of them are not talking about or not doing a lot of efforts equally to increase the value of the lifetime value of the client. So sure, we want the clients to cost less to acquire, but we should be talking even more, because that has, you cannot decrease the cost forever. You can keep coming up with ideas, but enough is enough. You can decrease things up to a certain point, but the sky is the limit when you take a look at the ways you can increase the value. That's how much they spend on your business over time. And that's where we focus on with the agency as well.
Yeah, just an interesting. And, I talk to brands also a lot. And obviously last year was more a difficult one. Definitely Q1, Q2, Q3. I hear a lot about some recovery in Q4. So that's on the macro level, right? How do you see, the overall, spending, environment right now?
Well, according to Meta released a report recently, and according to them, let's believe them for a sec, the advertisers are spending more this January. I think it was up by 30% or something. So brands were spending more overall. The brands I'm talking to, of course, it depends on seasonalities. For some of them, comparing Q4 with Q1 doesn't make sense, right? But for others, I don't know, some of them have like tax sale coming soon, or for others, Valentine's Day is big. So it depends, right? But
Clear. Yeah, definitely this is what we hear as well. Like this year started, probably on a very positive note compared to last year. And how do you see the spending, across the various steps in the value chain, right? Like discovery or nurturing, conversion. I mean, what is usually the purpose of these ads, and how do you see the budget is spreading across these different type of steps within the value chain?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think brands should think about the omni-channel. Let's say need to think omni-channel in this case, because you can attribute a certain responsibility to a certain channels, but not everything to every channel. So if you're thinking about retention through paid ads, I'm not saying that's not possible, but it's not the main goal. The main goal is to show your ads to as many people possible, of course, qualified audiences with the relevant messages to acquire them, and then, of course, retain them through channels that you own, such as email, or if you have push notifications or anything else, a community, many other things, because you own the audience. You don't need to pay for the audience again, but you can actually, you can actually reach out in a more intrusive way, in a more relevant way there. Again, I'm not saying it's not possible through paid ads. You can actually, and it's okay to reach out to reach existing customers through ads, but
Yes.
it's not the main goal that brands will achieve there.
Sure, sure. And how do you see the different type of medias, in terms of the effectiveness of the campaigns, video versus picture based, or testimonials, or what is usually, a right balance of these type of medias across the campaign?
Yeah, I hate answering this, but it depends on each brand. We have videos
And obviously a
succeed.
different niche, I guess. So
Yeah. We've seen videos succeed as a format with many brands, but many times images perform best, right? So it depends. I think that brands. Something interesting I recently heard that I agree with is that brands nowadays, that those brands are trying to scale the budget and are not finding success with that. They should think whether they are expanding the formats and messages in their ads. Why? Because when you reach a new audience, because let's say you scale the budget from, I don't know, $1,000 a day to $5,000 a day or something like that, you need to know that those people that you're going to reach that you didn't before are probably not going to respond to the same thing that the original audience did, right? So you need to test new things. So you need to test new hooks,
yes,
new benefits, like think emotional benefits, functional benefits. Whether it's video or images, we need to go back to the basics. The same thing I did with the plan. Same thing. Brands, what's working right now is going back to the basics in every aspect, including messaging. The audiences are not the filter anymore. Back in the day, of course, you could laser target your audience, and that was the thing. Why brands got away with an average message? Because they were targeting the audience they wanted.
Recorded.
So brands need to know that what worked in the old days won't work, as you were saying. The audiences were the filter, but nowadays the message is a filter because most of the campaigns should be using, if you're not doing that already, broad audiences. Like you can test many other things, but audiences are broad or broader than before. So the filter is a message. And if you don't test a variety of messages and in different formats, you won't capture a big audience as you should. The same happens when you post organically. Some people will love reading the blog post, but some people would rather watch a video, and some people would rather read a short form post. So many people, different people respond to different message formats, message lengths, and types, and different hooks as well. So the same concept applies to ads.
For sure. And in terms of the various e-commerce niches, I mean, do you see any patterns that are working here and not working there? I mean, in terms of the various sectors or niches in the industry.
For example, do you have an example?
I mean, I don't know, like an influencer who showcase some kind of a product in a video works very, very well. Probably, I guess, in cosmetics and fashion, obviously, and some other sectors. Maybe they're like food and beverages. Maybe it's a different style. Maybe a picture will work better.
With a variety of niches, and I can tell you that, of course, all of them can leverage different things. Some products are more visual than others. Some products are more technical than others. Some products need more explanation than others, and some products need activation. So, for instance, you said, I don't know, cosmetics for beauty. People will buy the product once, or let's say the first time. But if they don't use it, they won't buy again because they will have enough for months or years and they won't come back. So it's important for you as a brand to activate them, as we call it internally. Like the activation phase is a thing for them because you need them to use it, right? With some other products, it's not the same because it's probably more likely for them to use it because it's it's a no-brainer for them, or it's something that they paid a lot of money for, and you know that they won't come back for a long time. I don't know, if you sell mattresses, right? I don't know. You don't need to activate them to use the mattress. They will definitely use it. I mean, if you buy a mattress, you will use it, right? So it's not the
Yes.
same as I don't know,
Yeah.
sending educational videos with the or post with the night routine to apply this moisturizer or product for your face, or so it's a different thing. So those are the nuances that differ from industry to
Yes.
industry.
Yes, and obviously from B2B to D2C, right? I
Yes,
guess there are nuances there as well, right? If it's on the B2B side, maybe it's some of the products are more advanced, more technical, that require more training, how to
exactly. So
operate, how to activate, and definitely the
exactly. So
creativity
the
should
same
support that. Yeah.
as we were discussing earlier with the responsibilities of each channel for the retention or acquisition, same thing here for the acquisition or activation. Activation is not the responsibility of paid ads. You acquire the customer, that's awesome. Now let's activate them through channels that they will see, because paid ads are
Yeah.
great for even more nowadays for reaching a big audience, not for
Hmm.
reaching a few thousand people, right? So if you want to reach your customers a few hundreds or a few thousands, it
Yes.
won't be as relevant as if you hook them up with some emails. Or many brands leverage apps, and in their apps they don't have like a replica of their store. What they have is like recipes or training
Okay.
videos or educational videos on how to use their products, or ideas to use the products as well.
Yes. 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 And in terms of you've mentioned data, right, and analytics previously, and I think it's really important to discuss this as well. So, what do you see the role of data, right, in advertising strategy, and how do you measure success, and how do you analyze the data for
That's
making
an excellent
various
question.
improvements in the
First thing
process?
first, if you as a brand are relying on the data that you see on the platform, you're missing out on a lot of things, because nowadays the platforms, especially Meta, don't report
Okay.
nearly as much as the conversions that you can find. But that's not even it. We cannot measure the things or as
Okay.
black or white, as like the last touch or nothing. And by that I mean that the user journey is really complex. I buy something today, but I might be into, I don't know, I might have been into that for years, and now I decide to buy. Before recording this, you were telling me that you are using Riverside for the podcast. You said, hey, why don't you use that? I don't know. I checked
Yeah.
out Riverside, the pricing page, and many things for, I don't know, probably 2 to 3 years ago. And now, if in a month from now I buy, who should I attribute that purchase to? Meta, Instagram, or it's very
Yes.
complex. So for that, we should rely on, first,
Correct.
we shouldn't chase the sun, because there's no such thing as getting there. So with the attribution, it's the same thing. We shouldn't try to
Hmm.
aim to get the 100% accuracy on attribution, because it doesn't exist. It depends on the lenses you put on,
Hmm.
the who you will attribute it to. So you can say Meta was the last thing that person who bought yesterday. It was the last platform they saw before buying, but they originally enrolled through email or TikTok, and in the middle they said they saw X. So you need to have like a blended model, and something that's working really well as well is gathering zero
Yes.
party data. What is zero party data? In case you don't know, is the data that people provide to you when you ask them for it. So if you ask someone, hey, why did
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
buy? Did you buy it for yourself or for somebody else? How long have you, I don't know, known us before you bought? And many other questions that who else, what other brands did you consider before
Yes.
buying? So for that, some brands use a very well-known app called KNO Commerce, KNO Commerce. There are some others, but that's like the one that I hear
Hmm.
the most about. As a post-purchase survey that's integrated within Shopify. There are some others for sure, but the important thing is that you gather information from people. So you analyze numbers. Numbers are super important, but you can also analyze what people tell you, right? So that's super important.
For sure, for sure. So data is definitely a critical, thing, makes a critical part in this whole decision making. And as you said, not just the data from the platform itself, but from third parties as well. And so how do you balance, data, right, with creativity? How are you involved in the creativity process? What role do you take as BSR, as the agency, in all these decisions? How to probably do the tweaks that make a huge difference, or moving to another type of creativity methods.
Yeah, great
How do you see
question.
this
So
working?
data is everything, and we
in
are
real
100%
life.
involved. And I will give you a few examples. First, brands
Please.
that have been around for a certain time, for sure, they have reviews. If you're selling products online, you have reviews.
Yes.
Negative reviews,
Sure.
positive reviews, you have reviews. Leverage them. Without AI, with AI, try to analyze what people are saying, how they are saying it, which words they are using to describe what you do, because we are masters as at describing what we do with our own complicated works. Have you ever tried to explain
Yes.
a relative what you do? And so let them rephrase that and tell you what they understand about what you do. And those are the words you should use, not the complicated lingo that we use as brands or service providers. Let them define us better than we do, or what we sell, what the benefits they see in the products.
Yes.
And if you don't have reviews, don't worry. You do have competitors. I mean, if you don't have reviews because you haven't started selling anything and you don't have competitors, well, probably think twice why you are. I mean, probably you're inventing the next big thing. Because if nobody's like, if you don't have direct competitors or even indirect competitors, that's a different thing. But if you do have direct and even indirect competitors, look at their reviews, negative reviews, what people hate about the product that you can improve, or you are good at, and you can highlight that. And people want to get away from pain. So stop feeling X with your cream. We're tired of feeling X with your moisturizer or whatever. So we have a solution for you, blah. So the positive reviews, what they value, if you have the same thing, leverage that in your messaging. Pay attention to the comments in your ads or in your organic in your organic channels as well, even if that's the social channels or if that's a community you have or surveys. Try to leverage that in your communication, because you can do videos, you can do images, but as we were saying before, the message is important thing. And if you can actually ace it at identifying what people said in any of those channels, you will build more rapport with them, because that's the way they feel about your product, right?
Interesting. Brian, another important topic that is changing the market these days is that we are moving to a cookie-less world, right? Less ability to track, less ability to do remarketing. How do you see this change, evolve in the industry? How do you see brands are trying to confront,
I think they
cookieless
will.
world?
Everyone will adapt. That's the new the new rule and the new reality for everyone. So I don't know. I don't think that it will be a game changer for some brands and not for others. I think that, of course, it will be a big thing, but it will be the same thing for everyone. iOS 14 back in 2021 but was a big one of the biggest changes in the last decade for the ads world, and brands adapted. I think that brands are, after the iOS 14 update and after COVID and etc., brands are going back to the basics, and the basics will keep them in a good spot regardless of the new technological changes. So if you have your own channel, your own list, like you have a community, could be an email list, it could be a Facebook group, it could be anything, but you have your own people that loves you, your own customer base. you have a clear message and you have a product people love, that you
Yes.
have validated, they love. You are focused on being profitable and on increasing the lifetime value and average order value, not only decreasing costs. I think that will be enough
Mm-hmm.
for brands to succeed. Of course, they need to be on top of every tech change, but I think it will be just another change that brands will see. I might be underestimating it, but I think that
Okay.
that's what I see at
No,
least.
yeah, it obviously creates also a lot of other opportunities, right? Like retail media and
Exactly.
other inventory sources. So definitely there it's a change that needs to be brands needs to adapt. And in this in this topic, and brands looking to make their processes more efficient and obviously try to find new ways to market. How do you see the role of AI in all these processes? Where do you see this happening today? And how do you see this, shaping the future of e-commerce and specifically on the advertising and campaign side?
Interesting question. I don't know if I have the answer or if I'm the right person to answer anything related to that. I'm
You're in a good place.
yeah.
No
I mean,
worries.
I
No
think
one
that
has all
no.
the answers. Of course.
I'm not saying nobody
Yeah.
saw it coming a few years ago, but I remember I remember recording an episode on my podcast. It was probably middle of 2022, and uh, the
Hmm.
guest was telling me something about mid journey. For those in the audience who don't know what this is about, is basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ethan, but it's basically a program in which you can actually create images. It's like DALI. You can create images through AI with prompts, right? And I I didn't know what it was about back
Exactly.
then, and I
Yeah.
couldn't believe what it could do, the capabilities, and he was showing live some examples, and it was fascinating at that. And it was before um, AI was mainstream. Back then, what was mainstream was Web
Yes.
three, and um, like all the altcoins, Bitcoin, and everything like that. The creators coin, everyone was talking about that, but no one was talking about AI until I think it was December or January 2023. So you don't know what's waiting for you around the corner, right? So it's probably impossible trying to
Yeah.
predict how AI could be leveraged by brands. But currently, what I can say is that you should be using it with responsibility, because trying to, I mean, AI is integrated in, probably, I don't know, if you are a Shopify merchant, Shopify is leveraging AI as well to create product descriptions, to do more things for you. So be careful, be responsible with that. Try to, be there to,
Yes.
I mean, if you have an identity, if you have a strong values, you will probably have more chances to succeed than if you let AI generate everything for you. I think AI is great for getting off the blank page, but I don't know if it's there yet to replace us as humans, creators of brands.
Yes. Yes. Of course, of course. Obviously, there are, like as you said, like product descriptions, maybe SEO tasks. There are various activities that AIs can help, but it's not 100%. Some say it's maybe 50%, or maybe it's 80%. But definitely, all companies are using AI in some form, and we are
Yeah,
just at the beginning of this era. So it's really, as you said, no one knows what's
I think it could be great
behind the
to
corner.
do
Um,
some analysis on the back end, to predict something or to do some forecast, but I haven't heard of anything that brands are
mhm.
using successfully that I can recall right now. But I think there could be a lot of possibilities with AI
Yes,
to improve some processes on the back end as well.
yes, yes. Great stuff, Brian. Um, what do you see in terms of like common mistakes, that brands are doing? I mean, in terms of their marketing, digital, marketing
Yes,
activities.
great question. So it's a common thread with what I was saying about going back to the basics. It sounds simple, but that's the problem. Many people don't like simple stuff. They like the fancy stuff, the shiny objects, doing new things all the time. And this is something we talk a lot with our clients and on the show as well. What's wrong with the basics? Like Alex Hormoz is someone that is really well known nowadays in the US, in the entrepreneurship world, a very successful person and with clear thoughts. And he says something like, great leaders and successful people never skip the basics. Like, that is not about the extraordinary actions you can do to achieve something. It's about the ordinary actions you can do for an extraordinary period of time. So if you put in the reps every single day for 10 years, as he says, you will be in shape, right? But if you try to do, I don't know, 1,000 ups one day and then nothing, you won't see the changes, right? So in this case, it's the same thing. Brands are trying to go crazy with the next shiny object, next big thing, and it's like, hey, I did an episode the other day with a brand I love. It was a former client of mine, and I love the brand. Really, I love the brand. And it's not the first brand that tells me the following. They have a great product. Why? They spent 2 years, not 2 days, weeks, or months, 2 years developing the products until they were super happy with the quality of the products. Some brands I talked to, the innovation process was 5 or 10 years. 5 or 10 years, right? That's a lot of time. Some people spend a week and say, hey, it's not working. What's wrong? I'm not getting clients. I should probably, Facebook is not working, right? So spend the time to create a product, spend the time to validate the product. If you're starting out, don't run ads. Create a product and validate that, right? Go with your friends, your audience, give that away. Try to see if it works. Try to see if it changes people's lives. If people will come and say, hey, I want it. If it doesn't, ads won't solve your problem. We'll amplify them. Plus, you will lose money. Because if I'm selling something that nobody wants, the fact that I'm telling the same thing to thousands or hundreds of thousands of people won't change that. It will create bad reputation.
Yes.
People probably will buy once and return it or never again and tell everyone they know not to buy it. So spend the time to create a good product, to validate that there's demand for what you're selling, and then and only then amplify the message, because you will know that it works. You will have a confidence in what you do. You will know that changed people's lives. You will have probably testimonials to back it up with, and you will see more success. Reach out to niche creators in your space and distribute the product. Try to build something genuine, something that you care, right? That's the way I advise people to start something out. And if you're not starting out and you reached plateau and you don't know why things are not working, again, go back to the drawing board. Go back to the basics. Are we actually doing the things that need to be done currently, or are we trying to do ads as if it was 2020? You know, are we like, do we have relevant messages, right? Do we have what it takes on the landing page, on the messaging, or on the product? Do we have that? Or it's going back to the basics, right?
Yes. And I think, Brian, this is like the theme of this episode, right? Going back to the basics, be agile, experiment, iterate, be creative, try to build communities, and then
the other day I posted
right?
on LinkedIn that most of us we have already learned what we need to be successful. So everything we need to be successful, probably we have already learned those things. As we evolve and we grow, we'll learn new ones. But we don't need, the point is that we don't need to learn new things in order to be successful. You need to chase the next shiny option. You already have the know-how, right? You just need to do it. You just need to take action, to put it into practice, to do the basics every single day, the inputs, let's say, right?
Okay, exactly. So, Brian, thank you so much. It was really, really fascinating. Anything else you want to add?
I think that was it on my end. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer it. But I had a really nice time. So thanks for having me.
Yes, sure. Brian, anything else in terms of your something that you can share with our audience, something about maybe personally about you that most
I have
people don't know?
twins, a boy and a girl, 4-year-old. So I love being a parent.
Wow.
I know I look young, no, but I'm 36, but I have 4-year-old. So business, I love it, but they are my biggest
Yeah.
conversions. Let's say the attribution is 50% accurate. In that case, I'm the father.
Yes,
I know
yes,
that
yes.
for sure. But yeah, I like to play the guitar. I have two on the back end. Now I play probably lullabies for them, but I used to play
Yes.
for different things in the past. I love playing soccer. I'm from Argentina. I love Messi. Some people even say I look like him, but I don't know. It depends on the haircut.
Sure.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all about helping people. And that's I'm a mentor as well.
Yes.
On there's a platform called Growth Mentors. It's a platform for mentors in the growth marketing space. I'm a mentor there. I offer free sessions to give back. I have always done that since I was in high school. Always trying to, even if it was through courses or talks or mentorships, I always like to give back and give at least my humble and best advice possible to those people. So if you want, I can give you the link for people to reach out.
Amazing. Yes, please give the link to reach out. We put it in the show notes. And just to let you know, I'm also on the Messi fan, so in a Messi fan group. So well done. So what's the best way to
Of
find
course,
you?
I can give you the links for you to
Brian?
put in the show notes. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on our website, bsrdigital.com. And of course, I'll give you the link for Growth Mentor in case somebody wants to. If you are probably not, if you're a brand, that's fine. But even if you're a marketer, if you're an agency, and you want to brainstorm some things, I'm super open to discussing things with the peers as well. So feel free to reach out as well.
Amazing. So thank you so much, Brian. It was really, really interesting, insightful.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
It was
you
a great
very much.
conversation.
Thank you for joining us on this episode. Your support means the world to us. If today's episode has been insightful for you, consider sharing it with someone who would also benefit. Even one share can make a big difference. Looking to elevate your e-commerce game? Discover Vimy, a multi-channel e-commerce platform that will transform your business with the power of shoppable video. Visit us at vimy.net to learn more. It's Vimy, VIMMI.net. Thank you for being part of our journey. Stay tuned for more invaluable insights in our next episode.